Hi, this is Sue Jackson of the Book by Book blog, and I'm here today with the end of the year book tag, which I also did last year. So I hope you'll excuse the non-bookish background today. My chronic illness is still very badly flared up, and I went to my book group yesterday, which I actually co-hosted it yesterday, which wasn't good. I mean, it was good and I enjoyed it, but I'm paying for it. So yeah, so this is my typical spot for doing a Zoom call on the living room couch where I can put my feet up, and this was just the only way I was going to be able to record today, and I wanted to record today. So as I said, I did do the end of the year book tag in 2023, but this is a really fun annual tradition that I think helps you take a look at where you are and what you want to read in the new year. So this was first created by Ariel Bissett. I don't remember how long ago, but I will link her her channel and the original tag, I think, below. I think I've got that. I wasn't tagged this year, but I was reminded of this wonderful tag by the Ellen Made Book Club, and I enjoyed watching her video, and it reminded me that this is a great time of year to do this. And it's a quick one too, which works for me today. So question 1, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? Well, just my current reads. I normally only read one book at a time. Because of book group, I kind of had to shuffle things around this week. So there are a couple that I'm in the middle of. Tell Me More by Kelly Corrigan, which I talked about in my Friday reads last week. That's a leftover from Nonfiction November. And the book that I started reading for book group and didn't quite finish, Chicago by Brian Doyle. Also talked about that in last Friday's read, so check that out. I'm enjoying both of them very much. Question 2, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Well, obviously I'm doing this a little late. It's already December. It's already very cold out. But I did my autumnal reading transition the way I do every year. September and October were devoted to the RIP reading event. That's Readers Imbibing Peril, which is now run on Instagram. It was a blogging tradition for many, many, many years, and I still love it because I love reading darker mysteries and suspense and thrillers and things like that in the fall. So I enjoyed that, and then November for me is always Nonfiction November, and I enjoyed that as well. So those were my transitions to the end of the year. Question 3, is there a new release you're still waiting for? Nope. I don't read a whole lot of new releases, although I get a lot of nice books as gifts, so I'm sure I will get some for Christmas. But I have an entire bookcase of books waiting to be read. And I get more books every holiday, my birthday, Christmas, Mother's Day, and I'm not keeping up. They are piling up. Question 4, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Well, I used to strive to read books I had previously gotten as gifts before more came in at Christmas. That is clearly impossible now. So I've got loads of books on my waiting to be read bookcase, but there are a couple that are at the top of my list for as soon as I finish my current reads. The first of those is The People in the Trees by Hanya Yanagihara. Most people know her famously for her novel, A Little Life. This was her first novel, and my mom read it a long time ago. She might have bought it at our first Booktopia, and she loved it, and she said it was her favorite book. She still says. I asked her on our trip up to Vermont last year for Booktopia, or this year, what her favorite book of all time was. She still says The People in the Trees. And she bought me this copy way too many years ago. Mom, I'm going to read it. and soon, I promise. I couldn't limit myself to just 3. I have 4 here. So another one, a gift from my husband for either my birthday or Mother's Day or Christmas. A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan, winner of the Pulitzer Prize, and a book I've been meaning to read forever. This came out in 2010, and I think I've wanted to read it ever since. And since my husband got it for me this last year, I really want to get to it soon, before Christmas. Similarly, Children of God by Mary Doria Russell. This is the sequel to The Sparrow, which, if you have not read before, I highly recommend. It is about mankind's first encounter with other intelligent life in the universe. The Sparrow is an absolutely mind-blowing book. It is fabulous. Everything about it is great. The characters, the plot, the intrigue, the emotion. And so I have been dying to read the sequel. This is another book my husband bought for me in the last year, so I really want to get to it. This one was not a gift. Well, it was, but not a holiday gift. Everything Sad is Untrue, a True Story by Daniel Nayeri. So this, as you can see, won the Prince Honor, but I suggested this to my book group yesterday. Since I was co-hosting, it was my turn to present some options to vote on. I had 5 books, and this was one of them. A friend of mine read it in her book group and then passed it on to me. Thank you, Judy. And wow, the acclaim, the prizes, the 5-star reviews, the number of times this appeared on the best of the year list. It's just stunning. When I copied it for my book group yesterday for the list of books to choose from, I couldn't believe all the rave reviews, in addition to the fact that my friend said it was fabulous and her book group really enjoyed it. So I want to get to this one as well. Question 5, is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Of course, always. I get frustrated when I see best book of the year lists coming out in December or even November, because you never know when you're going to read a fabulous book that should be on that list. Certainly, I have high hopes for The People in the Trees, since my mom has raved about it. Same with A Visit from the Goon Squad, Pulitzer Prize winner, could easily be one of my top books of the year. And the one I'm reading right now, Tell Me More by Kelly Corrigan, will definitely be on my list of best nonfiction read this year. Question 6, have you already started making reading plans for next year? So for me, December, January, February are kind of read whatever you want off of my own shelves. It's like my reading freedom time. There are no other big events going on that I participate in. As I said, I have plenty to choose from my own shelves, mostly books I am dying to read. So, yeah, it could be anything off those shelves. I do have one book. Every winter, I say I'm going to read Winter People, The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon, a book I bought for my husband that he enjoyed, and I still haven't gotten to it. So I'm thinking this is a January book. I do have a few for February already, because February is Black History Month. So Deacon King Kong by James McBride and White Teeth by Zadie Smith. These will be the first novels I've read by each of these authors, so I'm very eager to read them. And yesterday, among the choices I presented for book group, which were all off my own shelves, by the way. The one that everybody chose was Sweetland by Michael Crummy. So that's our book for our February meeting. So I will definitely be reading that in February. I was happy they chose this one. I mean, all 5 of the books I presented, I would have been happy with. They're all on my shelf. But this is a book I got at my very first Booktopia in 2015. And it's a 2015 release. Somebody gave it to me in the Yankee book swap. I wish I could remember who. And yeah, there are just too many to-be-read books on my shelves. Haven't gotten to it yet. So I am thrilled. This is the one my book group chose from the list I gave them. And I'm going to finally get to read it. I do remember that whoever gave it to me, whoever's Yankee book swap book this was, just said it was fabulous. So looking for, and I think Michael Crummy was a previous Booktopia author. So very much looking forward to this. And then once we get into March and April, it's Booktopia season again. I noticed in my email just this morning, the Northshire bookstore in Manchester, Vermont, sent out an early registration notice to those of us who've been to Booktopia before. So I will let you know when registration is open because it's a fabulous event. And I do usually in March and April read many or most of the books by the authors that will be at Booktopia in the first weekend in May. So those are my plans for the end of the year. I would love to hear about your plans. Please let me know in the comments down below what books you plan to read before the end of the year and what your plans are for January and February.